Hello, my name is Natalie, and I am a fifth-year environmental studies major. I actually transferred from SBCC to UCSB last fall, but I'm back at SBCC to finish my bio series. So yeah, until next spring when I graduate, I will be dual enrolled at both institutions. But I'm excited for it all. Although I'm not a bio major, I still find biology super fascinating and obviously incredibly related to environmental science. I started my bio series at SBCC with animal bio, which was a great class, super interesting. However, for a long time, I've been most interested in cell bio. I'm excited to get into the nitty-gritty of cellular processes and learn more than I need to about it all. Some of my personal hobbies include biking, surfing, doing yoga, hiking, cooking. I love to cook, and brewing kombucha. So I actually decided that for this video, I would take you guys through a little tutorial on how I brew kombucha. So here goes. The first step is to brew sugary tea. Kombucha is a fermented beverage that contains a live culture, which we call a SCOBY, which stands for symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. The yeast eats the sugars in the tea and creates simple sugars like fructose and glucose, as well as ethanol, a form of alcohol, hence the low alcohol by volume percentage in normal kombucha. The bacteria then eats the ethanol and simple sugars and produces various acids like gluconic and acetic acid. This is why kombucha is often described as tasting vinegary. After the tea has been brewed and has cooled down, I add it to this 5-gallon bucket, which contains the SCOBY and a little bit of leftover kombucha from the previous batch. I cover it with a lid and let it sit for about 10 to 14 days. This is the first ferment. Kombucha is naturally a bit effervescent, but sometimes I have a hard time getting those bubbles, so I'll add a little bit of champagne yeast to kick up the ABV just slightly and to give it a little more fizz. To do this, I boil about 1.5 cups of water and dissolve equal parts simple sugar into it. Once it's cooled down a little, I add the champagne yeast and let it sit for about 20 minutes until the little balls of yeast have dissolved into a foam. That's how you know they're activated and ready to eat up your kombucha tea sugars. We remove the SCOBY from the 5-gallon bucket and add this sugary yeast water to a vat of kombucha and wait another 10 to 14 days. After some time, I take a little taste test. How's the flavor? Are there bubbles? If good, then I will fresh juice some ginger root and oranges. You can flavor it however you like, but this is my favorite combo. I collect my various glass vessels, make sure they're clean, and then fill them each about 1/4 to 1/5 of the way full of juice, and then the rest with kombucha. Now for the third ferment. I let the bottle sit, caps on tight, for about 4 days. The sugars in the fruit juice allows the drink to ferment and effervesce a little bit more. I'll taste test it again after a few days, and if it's bubbly like I like it and has good flavor, then I'll throw it in the fridge and it's ready to drink at any time. This sounds like a long process, and it is, but most of the time it's just sitting doing its own thing, and I just step in a couple times along the way to help the process keep going. I typically have 2 batches going at the same time too. So for example, one while I'm bottling one, another one is mid-ferment. And this allows me to almost always have a stock of kombucha on hand. Me and my housemate, who also brews kombucha, have talked about potentially selling our brew at some point, but as we all know, life gets in the way sometimes and things get busy. So maybe after I'm done attending 2 schools at once, we'll be able to manifest that. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you ever want some kombucha, let me know. On a completely different note, I also really love to travel, and I took advantage of SBCC's amazing study abroad program, and I went to Bali, Indonesia in 2019 to study marine biology and cultural anthropology. It was one of the most amazing experiences I've ever had, and I've made some really great friends through that trip that I am still very close with today. During that trip, many of us got dive certified as well and had the opportunity to explore the world beneath the ocean surface, which is an underrated experience, to say the least. Very eye-opening and something that I'll remember for the rest of my life. And I've been able to use those skills in other parts of the world already, which is also very exciting, and I'm very grateful for that as well. If I could say anything about studying abroad, it's so worth it. You learn so much, and I really encourage anyone who's thinking about it to do it.